me talk a little bit about pests, and more specifically, pest damage, and actually some of the benefits that having munchers and sapsuckers and other pests in and around your garden can have on the plants and the people actually using those plants for themselves. And of course, I don't, of course, only mean people, animals as well. And so, um, actually, the first thing that a gardener might think when they see an aphid on their plant or a caterpillar munching on their leaves is, um, you know, rage, sadness, and of course panic usually at what to do about the loss of their potentially prized tender shoots. And I can certainly understand. I've been in that place many times before, and I urge you to first off take a step back and think about what plants do naturally as they're fed on by pests, and more importantly, how they protect themselves from pests. And so, first off, of course, as we've already learned to some extent, as a pest, as a pest starts feeding on a plant and starts to feed on it in one way or another, the first thing that that plant does is it starts to raise alarm bells, and it sends actually chemical and electrical signals throughout its entire, the whole plant, and it signals the release of certain phytochemicals or plant chemicals that kind of are distributed, some throughout the entire plant, some in specific areas of the plant, and those phytochemicals are all basically engineered in one way or another to protect the plant from pest attack. Some of those phytochemicals can harm or affect the pest directly. Some of those chemicals actually release in clouds into the environment and signal predators and other animals to come in and attack those pests themselves. However, some of those phytochemicals are beneficial chemicals to humans as well, actually. A lot of antioxidants, for example, are some of these phytochemicals, and a lot of other vitamins and minerals that are found in plants are released by those plants or produced by those plants in the face of attack. And so, actually, when a pest starts feeding on a plant, the first thing that plant does is it buffs up the amount and variety of those phytochemicals in its fruits, its vegetables, its leaves, basically all over the plant. And of course, since a lot of those phytochemicals are actually beneficial to humans and some other animals that feed on those plants, actually a plant that is being fed on by plants can actually be more nutritious than a plant that hasn't been, because it's been actually beefing up its defenses as far as phytochemicals and other means. And some of those are actually greatly beneficial to us. And so, when you see a plant that's being munched on by an aphid or a caterpillar or any other kind of pest, first off, rest assured that at the same time that you're seeing a loss of foliage or other damage on the plant, the remaining fruits, vegetables, and foliage are becoming actually better quality because of that damage itself. And of course, also, as we've learned earlier when we learned about some garden predators, just by having pests in the garden will serve to attract populations of those predators themselves. And so just by having populations of pests in and around your garden, your pest control will be improved, and the quality of your harvest will be improved as well, just by having pest damage on those plants. And of course, there is a fine line about that. Of course, there is a level where pest damage is too high. However, it's actually rarely found in a normal home garden setting. And by far and away, more commonly, the foliage damage on a plant is far more cosmetic than it is actually, mortally threatening to that plant itself. And plants can recover from a huge amount of damage and bounce back, and a lot of times actually become invigorated by that damage. And by, as we've learned, maintaining areas of high diversity, native plants, native animals, and native pests, and non-native pests as well, you can increase the amount of native predators that come into your environments that will help you with pest control as well. And so, again, I encourage you, when it comes to pests, just kind of let them be. And, at least for, the majority of the season, rather than attack your pests at first sight, kind of observe them. Pay attention to how they grow, maybe what attacks them, and if they ever reach a point of kind of needing your help or assistance as a gardener, or if they kind of come under control on their own. And a lot of pests will have relatively short life cycles. So with caterpillars especially, sometimes the solution to a pest is just to wait it out and wait for a couple weeks until it's no longer in that young, ravenous form, and then your plants will bounce back and your garden will be, rebounding with a variety of then adult moth and butterfly life that results from those caterpillars. And then it all kind of comes full circle again, without the use of any of your time and money and having to try and combat a problem that's not even a problem in the first place. And so again, keep in mind that even for moderate to mildly severe pest attacks, actually the benefits of having those pests around can usually far outweigh the downsides to having them munch or otherwise feed on your plants for a small amount of time.